All right, well, Kufar Akbar, welcome to another edition of the Crescent discussion group. We are here every Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, not Eastern Standard Time. I hope you all remembered to set your clocks back last night because somebody didn't, and he was up an hour early this morning wondering what the heck was going on, and who knew? I mean, how can you miss that? Well, this guy did, so... anyway, blessings. Let me put you back in here, Paul. I see that you dropped. Put you back in here. Okay, so welcome to another show. I was sorry I was out last week. Last week, the Queen and I were in Washington, D.C. She ran in the Marine Corps Marathon. And she finishes. I mean, she's not the fastest thing in the world. This is true, because she's getting up there in the years. But if you can run 26.2 miles, well,
I'm tired just hearing about it.
yeah, just sit down, shut up, and let them go. And
run 26 miles, and no one's chasing you with a gun or a bomb or trying to kill you.
It's good training, though.
Interesting. All right.
But anyway, and I got myself sick. I missed the first 2 days of work this week because I was just miserable. It was anyway. We're back, and hopefully we're going to be here every Sunday here for the next. I don't think we have anything going on, so we're going to be here every Sunday for about 2 hours. Is how the time that we normally take. Today we might be running a little bit shorter. I don't know. I have all kinds of material here. We're going to be talking about the title of the show today is what did I call this? The historic brutality of Islam, I think was the name of the show. And it's based on what a article that our friend Ed Van Halen had sent me a couple weeks ago. And I was sitting there looking through some of these numbers here. Here it is right here. I was looking through some of these numbers here, and there's some of them that I knew about, like the Armenian genocide, that's anywhere from 1.5 million to 2 million. But there's other ones that I was kind of astonished to see those numbers come from India, from the Hindus. The Hindus just got absolutely wiped out. And I went back and I was looking through some of Bill Warner's stuff that he did, and we'll be going through all this stuff as we go along. But it caused me to order a book because I was looking at one of the citations in it, and it was in this book right here. Hold on. This book right here. And in this book, it gives all kinds of numbers. As you can see, it's this when we got the book, the Queen actually got it off the doorstep and brought it into the house. And said, "What do you got in that box? What is your order?" And I said, "It's just a book. Just you open it right now." And she opened it, and she's like, "Holy cow, what is this thing?" But this thing is it's like a textbook but on steroids. And so I've gone in there and I've verified some of these numbers as far as it pertains to Christianity, and they have the citations for them in that textbook right there. So it is these numbers are accurate, and they're much further north than the 270 million that Bill Warner is talking about. We're up and around 650, 670 million people. And when we think of Mao Zedong, Pol Pot, Joseph Stalin, Adolf Hitler, not on their best day could they even come close to these sheer numbers and the magnitude. It's just disgusting. So we're going to be discussing that today, along with a whole bunch of other news that deals with Israel. And I think that's what we're going to start off with. There's an article here. There was a picture here that I saw on a Facebook group that I belong to. And I'm going to put it up here on the screen if I could ever figure out how to do this right. And it's not a video. You'll be all glad to hear it's a video because I'll booger up the audio. But I want you to look at this. Look at this here. Let me make this full screen. And here's the empire of when what Israel looked like when David was king, the Davidic kingdom. And this article that they have that accompanies this tells us everything that we need to know about the Palestinian state. So let's just kind of scan through the article. As you can see, this right here, what does that look to you, right? You know what we call that area today? Philistines, the perpetual antagonist against the Israeli people. What is that strip of land called today?
Palestine, Gaza.
Gaza, yeah, Gaza. Boy, that is so applicable today. Or the Philistines, and this is why Israel was named, or that area was called Palestine, because it was after the Bar Kokhba revolt in 136, 137, somewhere around there, the Jewish revolt. The Romans kicked them out and said, okay, we're even going to rename this land, Judea and Samaria, using the name of your most hated enemies, the Philistines. So they called it Palestine. And it's so apropos that people cling to that name that of the very people who were the enemies of God for centuries. And they embrace that. It just seems so counterintuitive that they would do that. But anyway, let's go back to this article. Okay, so here you have a map where you have Judea, Samaria, or here's Judah, but Judea is up here, and then you have Samaria. Sea of Galilee is right here. Dead Sea's down here. So it was even on the west, to the east of the River Jordan, which runs right here. Can you guys? Yeah, you can see that. Okay, and it includes all of these other lands, like we have the Ammonites, the Edomites, the Moabites, Amalekites, all these different tribes that were eventually removed by the Israelis when they retook the land after the Exodus. But let's look at some of these things that it says here. Before the modern state of Israel, there was a British mandate, not a Palestine. So when we think of at the end of, let's see, it'll go on. Okay, it's going in reverse order. I thought it went back. Okay, it doesn't go in. It goes in reverse order. It starts with the modern day Israel. So before Israel was a country, there was not a country called Palestine. It was the British Mandate. And the British Mandate included, it was called the Transjordan is what it was called. And the British Mandate included all of the Jordan. So they give all the land to the most, 90% of the land went to Jordan. 10% went to the Jews. Did anybody complain about the people in Jordan getting their land? Did the Palestinians complain about the people in Jordan getting their land? No. The Palestinians were actually eventually kicked out of Jordan because they tried to overthrow the king. What's his name? Hussein? Is that his name down there? No. Who's the king of Jordan? Is it Hussein? King Hussein? What's the one up in Syria? Is
King Hussein.
Assad. Okay. It's Hussein. Okay. They tried to kill him. Well, I think they did kill him, as a matter of fact. But so they kicked him out, and they went to Lebanon.
No, they didn't. They didn't kill him. No,
They didn't kill him. Okay, I thought they assassinated. They tried to assassinate him. So they kick him out, and they send him to Lebanon. And what did they do to Lebanon? Essentially, destroy the entire country. So, wherever they go, they bring death and havoc. During the Gulf War, the Palestinians sided with Saddam Hussein and the Iraqis. So when the Kuwaitis reclaimed their country, they had a huge population of Palestinians in their country. You never guess what happened to them. They kicked them out. Thousands, 20, 25, 30,000 of them. The Kuwaitis kicked them out. Did anybody say anything about that? No, you can't kick them out. That's their land. They came. No. Did anybody say about the ones that were in Jordan? Nope, didn't say anything about that. No. And then they go to Lebanon, completely destroy that country. Don't say anything there either. Kind of weird. All right. Now, so before the British Mandate, there was the Ottoman Empire. And the Ottoman Empire did not have a place called Palestine. There was no Palestinian state. And before the Ottoman Empire, there was the Mamelukes. The Mamelukes took power immediately after, let's see, the Mamelukes right here of Egypt. There was the Ubaid dynasty. And before the Ubaid dynasty, there was the Christian kingdom of Jerusalem. That was during the Crusades. The Christian kingdom of Jerusalem there, Fatimid Caliphate. Notice there's no Palestinian state ever. Before the Fatimid Caliphate, there's a Byzantine Empire, no Palestinian state. Before the Byzantine Empire, there was a Roman Empire, not a Palestinian state. Before the Roman Empire, there was the Hashemonian dynasty.
Well,
no Palestinian.
Let's be honest here. There's the Byzantine Empire is a made-up name that it's just the Roman Empire. That's the truth.
Well, it's the Eastern Roman Empire.
Yeah, but there was never a. Yeah, they didn't call themselves Byzantines. They were Romans.
But it's called for historical purposes because it's from Byzantium, which is Byzantium, and then it became Constantinople, and now it's Istanbul. Yeah,
they just called themselves Romans, but they spoke Greek.
Okay, so you had the Hashemonians and the Seleucid Empire, not Palestinian state. Before that, you had Alexander the Great and Macedon, no Palestinian state. Before Alexander the Great, the Persian Empire, no Palestinian state. You guys see a pattern here? Before the Persian Empire, the Babylonian Empire, no Palestinian state. Before the Babylonian Empire, Israel and Judea, no Palestinian state. Before Israel, Judea, you had the Kingdom of Israel, no Palestinian state. So as you can see, folks, there's never been a Palestinian state ever. This is a made up. This is where you create history out of thin air, and this is exactly what Al Husseini, the Mufti out of Jerusalem, tried to do. This is what Yasser Arafat with the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization. Remember these guys? What they tried to do, but there was never a Palestinian state. What they're trying to do is they're trying to completely remove the Jews from their homeland. This has been going on for time immemorial. And another thing that I wanted to address before we get going too far into this is the fact that there has been a continuous, when they start saying, well, the Jews are not indigenous to the land, it's the Palestinians that are indigenous to the land. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? After looking at that, how can you possibly say that the Jews are not indigenous to the land? They have had a continuous presence in that region for at least 3,000 years. And at least that we could trace it back to David, and even beyond that. But let's just go back to King David. That's 1,000 years BC. They've had a continuous presence in that land. And you're going to say that this land doesn't belong to them? Really? Really? Well, people do. People do. Okay, let's go ahead and close that one. And now some of the people that are advocating for a ceasefire. I want to show you some videos of people advocating for a ceasefire. Let's see here. Let me
I
stop
do want to
sharing.
comment on that. I do want to comment on that, but go ahead. No.
The
So the
ceasefire or
people advocate.
the Palestinian state?
Yeah, no, the ceasefire.
Well, go ahead.
So go ahead and. Well, no, I'll show the people who are advocating for a ceasefire.
All right. Here, this guy is advocating for a ceasefire. Let me bring him up here to share the audio. It doesn't matter. He's speaking a foreign language anyway. He's speaking Arabic. Here we go. And play. Can you hear that?
No.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it's closed caption.
Well, why don't you read it?
Day of your slaughter, extermination, and annihilation is near, until not a single Jew or Zionist is left on the face of the earth. Our doctrine is fighting you, the Jews, is that we will totally exterminate you. We will not leave a single one of you alive. The Quran says, kill them wherever you may find them. We will fight them wherever we can. The moment will
looks like
come
he
when
came
your
from
property
Planet of the
will be
Apes.
destroyed and their sons annihilated. O Allah, destroy the Jews and their supporters. O Allah, destroy the Americans and their supporters. O Allah, count them one by one, kill them all, without leaving a single one.
Okay, so these are the guys that are calling for a ceasefire. A ceasefire by these guys. Let me just say one thing about the ceasefire. And I didn't realize this. I was watching, it was a Robert Spencer video I was watching. He was on a panel, and one of the guys on the panel said that 10 days prior to October 7th, Israel and Hamas agreed upon a ceasefire. 10 days prior to October 7th, there was an agreed upon ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. And I want to ask all these people who are supporting the Hamasholes, what ceasefire, what treaty, what agreement have they ever made with Israel that Israel or that they have not violated? And you want Israel to have a ceasefire and agree upon some type of cessation of hostilities with you when you, for 30 years, have been in a perpetual a war in perpetuity, not to get your land back, because that's not your purpose here. We know what your purpose is. We just saw what your leaders are saying. It's not about the land for the Palestinians. It's about the destruction of the Jews. This is so 1939 that it just almost makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Did you guys see some of the demonstrations that were in Washington, D.C. yesterday? They said it's upward of 300,000 people.
Dude, it's not just there, it's all over. Okay? And here's the funny thing. So
London.
So here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing on the ceasefire. If you notice, when October 7th happened, they were all celebrating it. You know, you had your Muhammad Hijab. Well, we did the show, 2 weeks ago? Muhammad Hijab, Jake the Metaphysician, or whatever. All the Muslim influencers or Dawah Agnes or whatever, they were all praising this. And Muhammad Hijab was all, why don't the Israelis fight Hamas face to face? They won't do that. They're cowards. Remember that? That's pretty much their whole thing. They won't fight Hamas face to face. They'll just bomb them from the skies. Well, guess what? Now that they've invaded, now that they surrounded Gaza City, now that they are going house to house, door to door fighting and killing these idiots in their rat holes, now all of a sudden they want a ceasefire. Why do they want a ceasefire now? This is what they wanted. Not only that, but the dude from Hezbollah was praising. Did you guys hear his speech?
Yeah,
the leader of Hezbollah.
Yeah, we're gonna play that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, when you get to it, I mean, just totally praising the dead and dying. Okay, I understand how they celebrate this. So, I mean, seriously, I don't understand why these cowards now. want a ceasefire because they're cowards.
Well,
They
yeah,
wanted
well,
the fight. They wanted to die. And now that the fight has begun, now that the dying has begun, the real dying has begun, now they want a ceasefire. See,
that's
they don't
exactly.
they don't believe their BS. They don't believe that we love death more than you love life. Well, maybe Muhammad Hijab does, as he's living comfortably in the West. You know what I mean? But no, they're just cowards. They really are just
Well,
cowards. Yeah. Go ahead.
that's why Abu Marzouk and all the Hamas leaders do not live in Israel. They are cowards. They want to lead a terrorist organization, but they will not lead from the place the terrorist organization operates.
Right. And think about that just for a second. Where are they located? If you look at the shut up. Okay. I was playing this other thing over here. Sorry. If you look at the if you look at the picture that I built for the show, it has one of the photos of the three leaders of Hamas, and I have the caption underneath there: the Billionaire Boys Club. Do you realize that the leaders of Hamas are billionaires? Did you know that?
Yeah, they're so corrupt that they like, and you got to think about Musa Marzouk to actually. It was responsible for the death of 47 people, and he did that from here in Falls Church, Virginia.
Really?
Say that again. What did he do?
Musa Abu Marzouk, he was a Hamas official here in the States. He started the Islamic Association of Palestine, which became CARE. That's Hamas in
That's
America.
right. Okay, that's right. Okay, all right. I'm with you on that one.
Is he still breathing?
Oh, yeah, he's still breathing. He just did an interview this past week.
Oh, but he's not in the U.S. no more.
Yeah, he's not in the U.S. We deported him in the 90s.
To where?
Well, it depends on where he... I think we deported him to... well, he wouldn't have been allowed into Egypt, so he probably went to Lebanon.
Okay.
He might be in Qatar today.
Well, Qatar seems to be the place that all of them are going to. They're gravitating to. I'm sorry, folks. I'm kind of distracted right now.
Or London. London's the other place that they like to gravitate to because London's just as stupid as we are. We have DHS officials that are acting as Hamas people, and one of them just got nailed publicly. Yeah, so
I saw that. Yeah.
In fact, I documented it in my second book. I exposed, how under the Obama administration, all these people worked for the Muslim Brotherhood that were actually in office. And keep in mind, Hamas is just a chapter of the Muslim Brotherhood. So this is where I think my resolution needs to be passed in Congress, my resolution to recognize that the Muslim Brotherhood here in the United States has declared war against us. That would enable, if they just look at what Hamas has said here, which the Muslim Brotherhood has said here in the United States, we could close all these organizations. Just pass the resolution. That would make us a freer United States, a more protected United States.
All right, I'm going to play this jihadi here. I think this is the guy that you were talking about. Let me know if I'm wrong, and let me know if you can hear it.
No, that's not Abu, but yeah.
Can you hear that? The music?
Yeah, we got.
You can?
No.
Yeah, we had sound. Yeah, we had sound.
Here we go.
I'm not hearing anything.
We have subtitles of this one too. So
إسرائيل دولة لا مقام لها على الأرض. إحنا الدولة لابد أن نزيلها. بالفعل هي تعتبر كارثة أمنية وعسكرية وسياسية للأمة العربية والإسلامية، يجب أن تنتهي. لذلك إحنا لا نخجل من نقول ذلك بكل.
Okay, no, look what he said. We're not ashamed to say this. Yes, you are. All of your acolytes in the West are ashamed to say this. You just happen to be honest about this. What is your goal? Well, let's take a look. What is the goal?
إنه إسرائيل لازم نأدبها وحنأدبها مرة ثانية وثالثة، ومش هذا حتكون طوفان الأقصى أول مرة، لا حتكون ثانية وثالثة ورابعة، لأنه إحنا لدينا إصرار ولدينا قرار ولدينا إمكانيات أن نقاتل ونحارب. لكن كما قلت لك بدنا ندفع ثمن. نعم إحنا مستعدين. معلش بدي أقول لك بشكل واضح، إحنا اسمنا شعب الشهداء وبنفخر أن نقدم شهداء. إحنا لا نريد أن نمس لا بالمدنيين ولا أن نلحق الأذى بهم، لكن أوقات لأنه في تعقيدات في الميدان صارت.
Okay, so look at the excuses that he's making. There was complications on the ground. No, there wasn't. They had maps of each houses to go to. They knew how many people lived in those houses because of the workers, the visa worker, in order to have people from Gaza come into Israel to work, you would have to get special permissions, people that you could trust that wouldn't attack you. So these people that they gave these like visas to come into Israel to work spent months going into these kibbutzes, gathering intel on the neighborhoods. How many people lived in each houses? Draw a map of the neighborhood. All of this was found on the people who went in there to kill him. This guy is a flipping liar. And even when he says that, we're proud to say that. No, you're not. You're a coward, just like all the rest of your Hamasshole buddies.
And don't forget, what Dominic has said here. These people booby trapped the dead bodies. That's what actually. I mean, I've actually seen stuff on this. So,
and this again, if we were to apply the Geneva Convention Accords to what these guys did, every single one of them would be given the death penalty. Every single last one of them, without exception. Everything that they did, these guys did, was in. And we have people that I'm a soldier of Allah, and I would. No, you're not. This is not what soldiers do. This is what terrorists do. This is what criminals do. This is what scumbags do.
في منطقة موجودة وكان هناك في احتفال وكان في سكان منطقة واسعة ليست سهلة على امتداد تقريبا 40 كيلومتر يجب أن ننتهي.
أن ينتهي وين؟ بقطاع غزة؟
ينتهي إلى لا بتكلم عنه كل الأراضي الفلسطينية.
كل الأراضي الفلسطينية يعني زوال إسرائيل؟
طبعا.
What? Whoa. Back it up. Hold on. What does that say? Does that mean the annihilation of Israel? Yes, of course. Yes, of course. The annihilation of Israel. If you want to know what their purpose is, it has nothing to do with the suffering of the people in Gaza. And believe me, I more than anybody else am down with that sympathy. I watched videos this morning of children who are in shock and they're just shaking after being injured. And this is what they do. They put this out there. So your heart bleeds for them. But these are the guys that go into Israel, slaughter people, shoot them in their beds, burn them alive, and then run back into Gaza and hold their children up in front of them. Don't shoot. You might hurt innocent. That's exactly what these cowards do.
They put a baby in an oven, dude.
Yeah, that's they put babies in bags and threw them in ovens. Yeah, that's yeah.
You don't get more evil.
These are baby. They did this to babies alive, and this is just, these are not human beings. These are scum.
And we're supposed to have a ceasefire.
I hate to say this.
Israel is supposed to have a ceasefire. Israel, not us.
I hate to say it, and I don't want to see it, but Israel really needs to release all of it, unedited, unblurred out. Okay, I mean unedited, unrestricted. Just release it all. But even if they do that, you have people like Muhammad Hijab and his acolytes and everyone believing him, where it's AI generated, it's fake, it's false news. Okay, the Israelis did this. Oh, by the way, it wasn't this guy that I was talking about. It's the head of the Hezbollah. He finally spoke from his underground bunker.
San Nasrallah or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Well, he actually said he actually praised all the killing, all the deaths, all the dead people. Encourage more Palestinian children, everybody else to go out and die. And then talks about the brilliant, the beautiful, where he praised the October 7th or October 6th, I forgot what date it is, but praised it, saying, how wonderful it was, blah, blah, blah. But then he said, no, it was the drunken Israelis, because they were on holiday and they were all drunk. And when they finally got down from Tel Aviv, they were so drunk, they went on a rampage and killed their own people. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a certain large number in the population that's going to believe this. Same way the entire Western world ran with that press where the Israelis fired on that Palestinian hospital, killing 500 people.
Yep.
That's just absolutely disgusting. And anybody that's in journalism that even reported on that ought to be ashamed of themselves. They ought to resign. If that's how, if your news source, if your source for your news is Hamas, and you need to resign. I mean, let's be honest about it. These guys are liars, and that's all they do, just like their prophet.
إسرائيل
طبعا وجود إسرائيل غير منطقي. وجود إسرائيل هو اللي بخلق كل هذه الآلام والعذابات والدموع والدماء. هي إسرائيل مش إحنا ضحية الاحتلال. نقطة وآخر السطر.
Okay, so when he says that they're the victims of occupation, what about, okay, so what occupation is he really talking about? The Gaza?
Well, it supposedly ended in the 1990s. Come on.
Well, what I'm trying to figure out is where are all these other Arab countries? Why aren't they willing to take these people in? Why does it have to be the Israelis that have to take them in? All these other countries exiled the Jews out of their country, took everything that they had, and made them go to Israel because they went. That's the only place that they could go was Israel. You got your own country now. Get out of ours.
Well, Egypt and Jordan said we won't take them because of national security. You're talking about the Palestinians. They won't. They said they go to war with Israel if they have to take these guys. So they don't want them because they don't trust them.
That's what they were trying to get the Jordanians to do in the 70s. That's why they threw them out. That's why they had to go to Lebanon. Is because the Jordanians threw them out because they saw what a bunch of scumbags these people are. These people have no moral turpitude whatsoever.
لذلك ما حدا يلومنا احنا شو اللي بنعمله. في 7 أكتوبر، في 10 أكتوبر، في مليون أكتوبر، احنا اللي بنعمل مبرر. It is justified. مبررة.
There you go. So you ever want to find out what they truly believe? That's it right there. This has nothing to do with getting along with Israel. This has nothing to do with their land. And it has everything to do with destroying the only Jewish state on the planet. If the Jews, see, this is what's so, for centuries, for all time immemorial, the Jews have been persecuted in every single country that they have lived in. And they've had to acquiesce to whoever was in power. Now they finally have their own state, and people just lose their flipping little minds. Like, I'm not Jewish. I am a devout follower of Jesus Christ. But when I see these Hamasholes and people of this religious persuasion persecuting Jews for the very fact that the only reason is that they're Jews, somebody's got to stand up and say something about it. And that's what I'm trying to do. Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to say here? All right. Here we have
these Hamas. I was going to say, you may have wanted to play the Abu Marzouk statement where Hamas is only there to protect the Hamas. They're not there to protect the citizens of Gaza.
Oh, yeah. He actually says it's responsible of the UN and Israel to protect the citizens.
That's on memory too. Abu Marzouk's statements. It's advertised there too. So yeah, that's quite powerful.
All right. This escalation, Hamas. I'm trying to find it. Spokesman.
I'll send it to you.
Is this the guy that ended that interview after they cornered? That's not him.
I'll send you the link just a second.
Okay, this is Sam Kiley. I'm looking for it. I'm sorry. Mox Arab Nation sends us.
I've got it. I'll send you the link in the private.
Okay. Boy, nobody's commented in private chat today. Normally, you guys are chatty there. What the heck is going on?
There you go.
I don't know why Israel hasn't bombed those fuel depots. Because that's how I would have played it. Seriously, think about it. They're saying they have no fuel. Okay, then that means there's no fuel in the fuel depots. We can bomb them. Okay, and just buy them, and then they really would have no fuel. And I think that would be awesome because then they'd have to come out of their holes. Yeah.
All right, the link didn't work. Inquiry analysis, Marzouk. The link didn't work, Paul.
Let me try it again. Yeah, I'm going to try it and see if I can. Get it up. Okay, I got it to work. So let me just copy it from here.
Hold on.
We'll try this one more time.
Paused. Let me bring it over here. Sorry for the.
Yep,
I got it. I got it. Let me.
All right.
Share screen. Hamas. Whole. Is this it? This is it, right?
Yep.
All right.
That's a mine number.
How long is this? How long is this clip?
I think
Tell me when to stop.
5 to 6 minutes.
I don't want 6 minutes. Tell me when to stop. No, this is only a minute long.
Okay. Yeah.
البعض يتساءل، وهذا سؤال رائج وشائع، يعني من قام بتشييد 500 كيلومتر من الأنفاق؟ لماذا لم يشيد مآوي يلجأ إليها المدنيون خلال القصف؟
نحن شيدنا الأنفاق لأنه لا نملك ما ندفع به عن أنفسنا من القتل والاستهداف. هذه الأنفاق من أجل أن نحمي أنفسنا من الطائرات، نحمي مقاتلين من الأنفاق. أما القطاع غزة فأنت تعلم والجميع يعلم بأنه 75% منه لاجئين، واللاجئين هو مسؤولية الأمم المتحدة في حمايتهم، مسؤولية الاحتلال في أن يقدم كل تبعا لاتفاقية جنيف الدولية أن يقدم لهم كل الخدمات وهم تحت الاحتلال.
There's two problems with this video. One is that he says there's an occupation that ended in the 1990s. And you think about that. I mean, and then he's saying it's he's calling people refugees who were born there and never left. A refugee is someone who leaves their place and feels that they would be persecuted if they return. You can't be a refugee if you never leave.
Well, he said it. What caught my eye on that one is that he said it's the responsibility of the UN to build these bomb shelters. Since when is it the responsibility of the UN to do this? When they were the ones that were elected by the people from Gaza to rule over them and to protect them.
That is the ultimate point right there. That I am putting out on LinkedIn. These guys were elected to be in charge. This is, again, a chapter of the Muslim Brotherhood. That's all they are. And they are operating in your locality. In the United States, please understand that the Muslim Brotherhood acts near where you live. They own most of the mosques in the United States. That's paid for through the North American Islamic Trust Company. Think about that. That's the bank that paid for most of the mosques in the United States. I think the number is like 88%.
The Muslim Brotherhood does?
Yes.
88%.
That comes. Yeah, the number's up there around 88%. It might be higher. It's been a while since I went back and looked at those numbers.
Wow.
Now, here's another thing on this. So he says that's the UN, that has to protect the their own citizens, and Israel, who has to protect them. It's their responsibility according to the Geneva Convention. UN. First of all, as Paul, you point out, it's completely wrong, his interpretation of that. But there's another thing. There's another clip by another guy. Maybe it's even this guy, where he's talking about how beautiful the attack was, and how only certain people knew about it, and how they've actually been planning it for years. Okay, and how
I saw that one.
5
years,
and how they had convinced the Israelis and the Western world that Hamas was responsible and serious about governing its own people, when in fact they didn't care. No, he actually says this. We convinced them that we were interested in governing our own people, where we had no intention of doing that. Instead, we were building the resistance. We were building the tunnels. We were practicing for this attack. Okay? Yeah, no, he points it out. I mean, I am sorry that the world has gone mad. I was on Steve's stream last night, and we were talking about this, and it's just coming fast and furious now. I mean, these people. I mean, think about all these groups that have combined to come together to support this. They're not all Palestinians. As a matter of fact, that's probably the minority. If you look at these protests, that's the minority of Palestinians and Arabs and Muslims. Those are a minority. The majority of them are these college woke students who actually are taught that they believe that Israel is, well, one, Israel is a, listen, look at even Mohammed Hijab and Daniel Hakachu's tweets. He actually is using the key phrases: empire, decolonization, colonial powers, capitalism. He's using these buzzwords, okay? So these wokesters, they actually believe they are fighting they are fighting colonialism, they are fighting imperialism, and they are fighting capitalism. So it's not a matter of being anti-Semitic or anything like that. They just honestly believe that this is the first battlefield, the first battleground in finally once and for all defeating imperialism, capitalism, colonialism, all of it rolled up into one. And if they can do that in Israel, then the rest of the Western world will fall, and they'll be able to build their own utopia. Again, what they fail to understand, and what we all laugh at, and I agree with you when we laugh at that, the queers for Palestine, the LGBTQ plus I. There's a great, if you go to Andy No's Twitter, there's a great thing. He has, the billboard guy from Canada. He's in London, and he's confronted by this Antifa guy. Okay, and they start talking, and he's like, "No, you're anti-trans." He gets all emotional about the trans thing. No, you're a transphobe, blah 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 blah. And all of a sudden, these Muslims step up and they say, "No, you can't trans the kids. No, that's just wrong." No, seriously, it's a great video. I'll look it up and we'll play it. But my point I'm trying to make here, my rambling here, is that okay? We all laugh at this, but here's the thing: this is actually how the left wins. The left has no problem with uniting with people that will kill them under any other circumstance. Look at this. They have no problem with this, okay? Because they will unite with them on a specific political issue to achieve a specific political goal. And they will have no problem doing that because once they achieve that goal, they actually think, well, we'll just wipe you aside, okay? Or vice versa, okay? Though they're putting that battle on forward. Do you see what I'm saying? But this is why they win. They have no problem with it. And we better start waking up to that. Like, I have no problem uniting with the jihadis to wipe out the LGBTQ plus I people. I got no problem with that. And then when they're done with that, then we can deal with you later. That's my philosophy, my political opinion. Anyway, I'll leave you with that.
All right. Let's go pay a visit to Ali Dawa at Speaker's Corner and look what he does to this Jew.
It's Ali McDowah. It's Ali McDowah. I coined that phrase.
What is it?
Ali McDowah.
Why
Ali McDowah?
Why?
Because he wants to boycott McDonald's. So I was listening to Jay Street live stream, Jay and Daughter of Christ, and I typed that in there, and they liked it. Ali McDowah. Yeah.
Ali McDowah. All right. Here's Ali McDowah and a Jew at Speaker's Corner. Can you guys hear it? Could you guys hear it?
Yes.
You can or not?
No. I can't hear it.
All right. What?
I can hear it.
You can hear it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yesterday, I was attacked by a mob of anti-Semites. They spat on me, kicked me, pushed me, and tried to beat me with sticks.
Am I with you with this?
The violence was instigated by Ali Dawa, who incited the mob to attack.
I'm never going to live. The killing. You condemn 6 kids. Ali, what is this? What is this? Look at you. Look at you. I'm not going to do anything. It's a bait. Not a religious person. You Zionist scum. That's what you are. You Zionist scum. Hey. This ain't Israel. This ain't Israel. Ali, get out. This ain't Israel. This ain't Israel. This ain't Israel. This ain't Israel, bro. This ain't Israel, bro. I'm Israel. Hi. I'm Israel. This is why we need a country. All that proving is why we need a country.
Exactly. This is exactly why The Israelis have to have some place to go to get away from Hamasholes supporting idiots like Ali Dawa, who want to go ahead and throw their weight around when he has superior numbers.
It's also why we need to expel those Hamas lovers. I mean, you're supporting a terrorist entity, an entity that has been declared a terrorist by whatever country you're in. They need to be given a one-way ticket to a Sharia-loving country and let them live there. My suggestion is Syria or Lebanon, or that'd be too nice for them. I say drop them off in Syria.
I would,
or Afghanistan.
Somebody had made the suggestion that if you support Hamas and you openly support Hamas and this movement on campuses, and you are a foreign exchange student or you are here on a student visa, that you should have your student visa revoked.
That was Governor
Ron DeSantis, our next president of the United States of America.
Okay.
Yeah, now he's not the only one to do that. Sweden's prime minister has said, if you are here and you came from a foreign land and you are doing these kind of things in support of Hamas, we will. They said we're going to pass a law to not only take away your citizenship, we're going to deport you. So we're waiting to see that.
I don't know what you mean by citizenship. Yeah, when you start stripping.
If you said you were from Syria, no, I'm just talking about Sweden. Sweden at one point was saying if you came in, you said you were from Syria, you were immediately granted citizenship. And now they're starting to say, oh, well, citizenship's going to be revoked and you're going to go home.
And well, Sweden's have their own super set of problems to begin
with.
Yes.
They're close to 20% population.
Yeah, they've pretty much screwed themselves. When that was first said, I was, I'm, a very staunch believer in freedom of speech, freedom of expression. And anytime somebody comes up and says that, I want to stop somebody's freedom of speech or freedom of expression, I'm usually one of the first ones to stand up and say, no, that's wrong. But here's the rub. Here you have people from other countries coming into our country and not respecting, number one, the rule of law, but more importantly, number two, engaging in political or religious debate where they're here on a student visa. Go to school, get your education, and go home. Don't sit there and try to get involved in our politics. So I'm still not there 100%, but I'm starting to lean that way based on the people that I'm seeing in these interviews. And I want to show you one here. Let's see here. This one is here a guy. Have you guys seen this one where a guy gets people to sign a petition to join Hamas? I want to show this. I like this one. I'm gonna. Of course, I gotta endure. There we go. All right. Okay, here we go. Let me put this up here. Oh wait, I gotta present it first. There you go, you idiot. Here we go. There we go. Ba-bing. All right.
Petition to help Hamas free Palestine. You're all in? All right. Oh yeah, you're in? Easily. I just have to read terms and conditions just so you know what you're signing. Okay. By supporting Hamas freeing Palestine, you agree to the following. You agree that every Jew, Christian, and non-Muslim in the world must be slaughtered. I don't know about that one. You endorse making homosexuality punishable by jail or death. Oh no, I don't. You don't agree with that? You believe Iran should use Palestinians as puppets to spread radical jihad and destroy the West? No? No. I'm glad I read the terms and agreements. You support strict Sharia law, which bans women from showing their knees, hair, playing sports in public, not being able to travel without a man's permission. I'm sorry. Not interested? Oh, okay. You want a terrorist group that beheads babies and rapes girls to replace only democracy in the Middle East?
not sure that's something to support.
So if I sign, I agree with this.
Yes. Maybe no. No? Okay.
Well, no, thank you. I don't support any of these two things that you just read to me, so then I won't be able to sign this then.
That's fair. No, thanks for not signing. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, that's kind of like one of those duh. But this is the problem with a lot of these kids on this campus. They don't realize, they do not realize that these are the things that the Hamasholes support. And you notice he said Sharia. And he was talking about what the Sharia has to say. If you're supporting the Hamasholes, what you're doing is you're supporting Sharia. That's what you're supporting. And the spread of Sharia in that region. Whether you want to admit it or not, whether you want to couch it in some type of, well, I think the Israelis ought to give them their land back or whatever. Well, where are the Israelis going to go? And what do you think is going to happen to the Israelis if you give the people from Gaza and people from the West Bank full citizenship within the country of Israel? The Jews will be a minority. And what do you think is going to happen if the Jews become a minority? Do you think that the people from Gaza and the West Bank are going to respect minority rights if they are in power? Just for a second, do you think that that's ever going to happen? Just for a second, name me a place where the Jews did enjoy full citizenship rights with Muslims in a Muslim majority country. Give me one. Just one. You can't. And there's a reason for that. And it's because when we look at the Quran, when we look at the Hadith, when we look at the Sira, they're told not to. They're told not to take Jews and Christians as their allies. It says friends, but let's play along. Let's say it says allies. They're against that. What is this? What are you doing here, Rad? Taking over my studio? What is this? Notice I didn't do this. Rad has the power now that I've given him to come and look at you.
I've always had the power. Yes, but anyway. No, this is that video I was telling you about. This is the dude confronts the billboard guy from Canada. He's in London now. I'm going to play it. It's like 3 minutes long. I might fast forward through some of it. But just listen to this. This is too funny. Let me know if you can hear it.
We should sterilize kids.
Yeah, we can hear it.
You have the right to control.
Okay. Well, I can't hear it. Hold on.
That's not important. We can.
Hold on. Why can't I hear it? Oh, I know why. All right, settings, audio. Yeah, then it's mic, speaker. That's what I want. Okay. You guys say something. Somebody say something.
Something.
Okay.
Something.
Here we go.
What's a trans body?
No, I still can't hear it.
A child's body. You're
You guys still hear it?
enforcing the parents' control over a person's
Well, I'll let it play then while I'm trying.
So,
to
are you familiar with the facts about this? About how
give it a listen.
Children are being sterilized?
I don't think
and
you're
becoming
familiar with the facts of this.
irreversible.
You're not
lifelong
familiar with this.
Really?
Why do they have masks on?
Your facts are
Like what?
Because they want to attack.
children are not being sterilized.
Oh, really? So I'm filming right now, but I could bring up the consent forms that these children signed with these gender clinics where it says right on there that puberty blockers and process hormones are sterilizing them. This isn't some secret knowledge. All the trans health experts themselves will tell this to
It's
you.
completely public. I mean, the drug that's used is triptolin. Triptolin is the exact same drug used to counter castrate pedophiles or sex offenders, used to sterilize people back in the 70s and onwards. It's originally developed to treat cancer.
I have a question for you. Why do you feel the need to intimidate me?
Oh, I was just walking by and you called me an effing fascist. So
Yeah, because
I thought you might like to have a
fascist ideology
conversation.
on your fucking
So again, what is fascist about trying to protect children from irreversible harm?
You are actually causing children to commit suicide with what you are propagating right now. Saving care. It's life-saving.
How so?
Because without it, they would be fucking miserable.
Well, maybe you could send them to me later because I've
I
been
do not
any of your points because you actually have no evidence for anything.
propagate anti-LGBTQ, anti-LGBTQ, propagate anti-LGBTQ, anti-LGBTQ propaganda. He's trying
to tell.
Why are they covering their face?
They're not allowed to be trans.
Yeah, they're not.
Cowards.
They're not.
You're wrong.
Listen. In some religions, you can't do that. Yeah, you have to respect that decision. 3 Abrahamic religions, yeah. LGBTQ. But in some religions, they accept that. But in our religion, you can't do that. What religion are you? What religion are you? Why are you then?
He doesn't have a religion. He's Antifa. This little coward wearing his mask. He doesn't have a religion. He just wants to
Okay. Boss, wait. Shut up. No. Wait, where you from? Where you from? Where you from?
And he runs away.
That's right, run away. Good job.
They chase him away. And they're chasing after him. I just think that's the funniest thing. But see, they don't know what they're supporting. They have no idea. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yep.
Yes.
But you see, these kids, they have no idea. They honestly think that the Muslims love the LGBTQ plus I people. They really do. Because the Muslims will sit there and tell them the jihadis like Muhammad Hijab and they'll say, oh yeah, we love the LGBTQ plus I people. Oh yeah. But when it comes out, no, do you see what I'm saying? They are totally clueless in this. And then all of a sudden they're confronted by real Muslims saying, no, you can't do this. You have to respect us. And he's like, no. You have. Do you see what I'm saying? And, so I'm all for using one cockroach against another cockroach. I believe it's nature.
Well, I think the LGBTQ thing is, I don't. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. It's just an ugly thing. They're ugly people that are involved in that, trying to push that. It's just as evil. I would agree. It's just as evil as the Antifa. As the Antifa people are, and it's just as evil as the Hamasholes are, trying to do that to little children. It's just sick. Okay, I have another Rad. Give me back my screen, please. Can I have back my studios, Rad? Please.
Okay, I give it back to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, here we have a Jew who goes undercover at a protest. Let me go ahead and put this over here. And let me restart this. There. Okay, here we go. Present. Jew going undercover at a Free Palestine event. Here we go.
I'm a Jew going undercover at a Free Palestine rally to see what they're really about.
How would you describe a Jew?
They're devils.
Who's at fault?
The Jews. The Jews. Always been the problem.
So if they do take Palestine, where do the 12 million Jews go?
Go to hell. Yeah, that's the literal slogan.
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine! Okay, if we free Palestine, where do the Jews go?
Hey, go back to Brooklyn, bitch!
Shout out to Kanye. He was right.
How do I know that you are...
That I'm not a Jew?
Get the fuck out of my face! Get out of my...
The Hamas book, the action they've taken, it's not a terrorist...
Is that Al Pacino?
For Palestine, yes.
What do you think about the argument when people are saying in Gaza they kill gay people?
It's very unsafe to be queer here too.
But they're not actually killing gay people for being gay by law, right? The way it is in Gaza.
But why do we keep going back to Gaza?
Why is there such a basis for them to have a homeland? Nobody else has a homeland.
Where are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
My family's from Afghanistan.
In Afghanistan, by the way, so that's a Muslim country, right?
Predominantly, yes.
So would you consider that your homeland?
Yes, so I guess I do have a claim over that, but you can't claim Israel.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So you can see how disjointed and hateful these people are. When you don't have to provide some type of cover from like the Western media goes in there and they put on one face. You go over there like this guy did and said, "Hey, I'm one of you." Look how they talk amongst each other. If you put the shoe on the other foot just for a flipping second, do you think that wouldn't be on the nightly news all over the country? If this was a Muslim and they were saying these Muslims, they need to kill all of the Muslims in Gaza because they're evil pieces of crap, who gives a rat? Don't you think that if a Jew said that, or even a Christian said that, that would be on the nightly news. But here they're saying it openly to one another. And by the way, there's nobody on this panel, that I know of anyway, that believes that the people from Gaza should be killed. Nobody believes that. But if anybody says that, that would be on the news. Now they're saying this all over the place and nobody says boo. It's sick. Okay, got a couple more. This one I found really interesting, and it's off of, let me see here. No, I got to push this button. Here we go. Can you guys see this? Wait a second. No. Stop it. I think it's this one. Yes. Okay. Can you guys see that?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Now let me see if you can.
No, not any longer, but yeah.
Okay. Let me see. All right, let me put it back up here. This is in German. In Germany.
Jeder, der den Islam verändern. Du bist für authentischen Islam.
Wait a second. Hold on. I messed it up. Sorry. Could you hear it?
Yes, we could.
Okay, here we go.
Die sagen, ich will hier keine Scharia in Deutschland. Das ist Schwachsinn. Jeder, der den Islam verändern. Du bist für authentischen Islam, so wie er ist. Jeder, der sich als Muslim bezeichnet, muss die Scharia wollen auf der ganzen Welt. Ich will die Scharia in Deutschland auf jeden Fall.
Würdest du die deutsche Verfassung aushebeln, wenn du die Gelegenheit hättest?
Auf jeden Fall.
Okay, danke.
Okay, they're going to nullify the German Constitution. Listen to what this guy's saying. Okay, this guy's an immigrant to Germany, and he's willing to nullify the German Constitution and replace it with Sharia law. Replace it with Sharia.
Wie könnte man jetzt aus Deutschland einen islamischen Staat machen? Wie zum Beispiel? Laut den Werken ist das so, dass man, wenn man in der Mehrheit ist, wie Sie auch erklärt haben, sind wir dafür befohlen, Deutschland einzunehmen, auf jeden Fall. Also es ist das ist eine islamische Pflicht, auch Deutschland einzunehmen. Auf jeden Fall. Ich respektiere deine Ehrlichkeit und du bist ja gegen die Liberalen, die jetzt sagen, nein, das stimmt nicht und wir sollen hier in Frieden leben. Muslime zu sein. Warum? Es ist eine Auseinandersetzung, wir oder ihr. Entweder ihr übernimmt uns oder wir euch. Ja, auf jeden Fall. Und darum gibt es diesen liberalen Islam. Gibt es eine Unterscheidung politischer Islam und anderer Islam? Jetzt bin ich jetzt im politischen Islam, wenn ich sage, ich will die Scharia, dann... Nein, ich meine, Islam ist doch in alle Lebensbereiche. Kannst du sagen, Islam hat in Politik nichts zu tun? Gar keinen Fall. Das ist Kufr, oder nicht? Natürlich. Ja. Und welche... Ich verstehe die Menschen. Manchmal, man will seine Religion beschützen und dann sagt man Sachen, die nicht stimmen. Ja, das mit dem Handabschlägen gibt es nicht, etc.
Mit welchen Mitteln wollt ihr die Scharia hier installieren und einen islamischen Staat machen? Mit welchen Mitteln?
Ich rede nicht von Anschlägen jetzt, zum Beispiel, wenn ich jetzt hier einen Anschlag mache, hier, wo sie gerade demonstrieren. Das ist falsch. Ich rede davon, wenn die Muslime in der Überzahl sind, dann, wenn es sein muss, mit Gewalt.
Oh. Das ist es. Das ist
auf jeden Fall.
Das ist es.
Danke, dass einer ehrlich ist und das so sagt. Danke.
Das
du
bestätigst ich habe
genau
so gedacht, 30 Jahre lang habe ich so gedacht wie du. Ich habe immer einer meiner Slogans in den Moscheen, ich habe Unterricht in Moscheen gegeben, ich habe 2 Moscheen in Berlin mitgegründet, ich habe immer gesagt, Deutschland verdient eine satte Islamisierung. Und ich habe immer gesagt, du weißt ganz genau, dass die Scharia bedeutet vieles. Scharia bedeutet die Regelung, wie du betest, wie du fastest, wie du zur Hajj gehst und so weiter und so fort. Die Scharia ist in jeder Moschee lebendig.
Okay, so here you have, this guy is admitting that once they become a majority in any country, this is when we start starting, oh no, they're just refugees, let's invite them in, let's fight. How many Afghanis came into this country for crying out loud?
120,000.
There you go. Okay, so they're just, in need. And I get that. That's probably true in a lot of the cases.
No, he just admitted openly. He openly admitted Islam occupies every other country.
Yeah, that's their purpose of the Hijra. That's what. Right. That's one of the reasons why.
To become a
one of the most
majority.
important things I've ever written in is the Hijra.
And yet they claim that everybody else occupies their countries. So
yeah,
right there,
it's
they're
weird,
liars.
right? Yeah. That's really weird. How there's the same standards never applied to them. How dare you apply those standards that we impose upon you, upon us? We can't have any of that now, can we? Yeah, it's the hypocrisy. If there's one thing that they're consistently good at. It's their hypocrisy. Okay. Does anybody have anything that they want to add thus far? We're about
Eric,
a little
if
over
you
an
could
hour.
put the link to that in that video in private chat, I'd appreciate it.
Which one? The one I just played?
Yeah. Yeah.
I just closed it. Why would you do that to me? Hold on. Let me bring it up. Here it is. I think this is it. Is this it? This is it. Okay, this is it. Let me go ahead and do that for you. Copy, private chat. How do I do this? Paste. Do I do it that way?
Thank you.
There you go. You bet. Okay. All right. So I got a couple more here. But before I get into any of these, there was when Ed sent me this email a couple weeks ago about the numbers of people that have been killed in the name of Islam, and I had always thought that you look at Bill Warner and how he analyzes these things. It came out to about 270 million, which is an incredible a number of people slaughtered in the name of a religion. I mean, if you think about that, I'm going to read you some facts here, because it's always, well, you Christians, you Christians, you Christians, you Christians, you Jews. They don't even come close to these numbers. Here are some simple facts. More people are killed by Islamists each year than all of the 350 years of this.
Just leave out the Islamists. That's a made up word. Islam.
By Islam each year than in all 350 years of the Spanish Inquisition combined. So we always hear about this Spanish Inquisition killing, so many thousands of people. And I think it came out to like 3,000 or maybe 4,000 people in total were killed during the Inquisition. But that's always kind of thrown in the Christians' face. But every year this happens in Islam. Let's see here. Then it goes on to talk about how the Muslims were finally expelled from Spain after invading in 711, staying until 1492. They were finally kicked out of Spain, Al-Andalus. And there's a verse in the Quran that says, drive them out from the lands that they drove you out of. So don't you think, do you think just for a second that Spain is safe from these types? No. Why? Because they had invaded Spain in 711. They had gone clear up to almost got to the outskirts of Paris, the Tours, and then when they were finally stopped, 732, and they were pushed back into Spain, but they stayed in Spain for another 700 years, guys. Do you think that they're not going to want to reclaim Spain? That's crazy. Let me see here. Here's another good one. Islamic terrorists murdered more people every day than the Ku Klux Klan has in the last 50 years. We always hear how evil the Klan is. Oh, them white people wearing robes, they kill all these people. Islam does it every day. More civilians were killed by Mohammedan.
Yeah, but Eric, I hate to defend Islam, but in Islam, they are an equal opportunity killer. They kill everyone. They do not discriminate on race, creed, culture, color. They just kill you if you're not a Muslim. Period.
And each other.
So, and each other, especially each other. Actually, they kill more each other than they kill anybody else. They love killing each other.
Okay, Islamic terrorists murdered more people in one day than the Ku Klux Klan has in the last 50 years. Okay, okay. Islamists killed, let's see here. More civilians were killed by Mohammedan extremists in 2 hours on September 11th than in the 36 years of sectarian conflict in Northern Ireland, because we always hear about the Protestant and the Catholic conflict in Northern Ireland and the Irish Republican Army, bombing and all this, that, and the other. Well, that was 36 years. That was over a long period of time. But they kill, 2,986 Americans on a September morning in 2001. And that's more than that. Let's see here. 19 Mohammedan hijackers killed more innocents in 2 hours on September 11th than the number of American criminals executed in the last 65 years. Oh, that evil death penalty. Let me see here. Okay, they get into slavery here, and the numbers for slavery. When we think of the transatlantic slave trade, you have this number here. Let me see here. Puts that number at about 11 million for the transatlantic slave trade. But they don't talk about the Arab slave trade ever. Nobody ever talks about that, where you have 11 million coming westward across the Atlantic, and you have about 10% of them die en route because of the condition, the god-awful conditions on these slave ships. It just, if you would read some of the descriptions that these people had to endure, it'll gross you out. Anyway. But, and I'm not trying to justify saying that the transatlantic slave trade was a walk in the park at all. That's not my goal here. But when you look at the Arab slave trade, when you have 14 million going east, that's just the number that made it. That's not the total number, because of the number that made it, this is from Thomas Sowell, who's a prolific writer. He says that of the 14 million that went east, what was it? There was 25. Okay, there was 25 million slaves delivered to the market, which means that for every one slave that was delivered to the market, 5 slaves would die. You know, when we look at the estimates of the transatlantic slave trade, the number of people that would die en route, it's anywhere from 7 to 15%, depending on, the time of year, where they were coming from. There's a lot of variables involved in, but 7-15%. Here you have 1 out of only 5 ever make it there. That's incredible. Let's see here. Then we have 80 million Christians killed by Mohammedans during the 500 years in the Balkan states in Hungary. And that comes from this book here that I showed you earlier, because I checked the sources on a lot of these things, the best that I could. And I see Ed's here in the chat. Yeah, Ed, I'm reading your article. And I ordered this. Well, this book was $55, but it's worth every penny. I mean, if you look in here, just the can you guys see this? Just the numbers that it gives you and the charts that it provides. It's just incredible. And to tell you how many Christians were killed. And so this number of 80 million, yeah, they have it documented, folks. Let's see here. I was going to say, somebody's got an open mic. Were you going to say something? Let's see. And then the Buddhist, let me see the Buddhist. 10 million Buddhists. No. Yeah. Buddhists in Turkey, Afghanistan, along with Silk Route, India. About 10 million were killed there. And then the Hindus. The Hindus is the one that really blew me away. And I don't know if this is overinflated or not, but I'll just give you the source here. Okay, so the country of India today is only half the size of ancient India due to jihad. The mountains are called the Hindu Kush, which means the funeral pyre of the Hindus. So, according to reports from 1899, a statement made by Indian religious leader Swami Vivekananda, something like that, quoting. Now, this guy's quoting an Islamic historian, Farista. Muhammad had slaughtered over 400 million Hindus during an 800-year Mohammedan rule. And they reduced the population from 600 million to 20 million at the time. The Islamist guy, the Farishta guy, wrote that the I don't know what that means, and the Terry and the Gushani or something like that are the ones that did that. If the Mohammedans indeed slaughtered over 400 million people in India, the Muhammad genocide around the world would exceed 890 million victims. And that's not including the ones that we know, and most recently here in the West, we talk about the Armenian genocide. And the Armenian genocide, folks, was mentioned by al-Husseini to Hitler, saying, does anybody remember the Armenians? Hitler's like, no. Well, then nobody's going to worry about all of the Jews, the 6 million Jews that you slaughtered. So the bottom line is when we look at the millions, just the millions of people killed in the name of this guy, this self-proclaimed prophet from the 7th century, who was a murderer, who was a thief, who was a genocidal, ethnic cleansing, slave trading, enslaving, sex addict pedophile. And that's not even all of the things, because I could throw in there.
In India, it was so bad. The slaughter was so bad that the jihadis that were in charge of the slaughter contacted the caliphate and asked permission to let them live. They got to the point where they hated killing the vast number of polytheists.
And why do they have to? Why, Paul? For what reason? Why can't they make them dhimmis?
They weren't allowed to make them dhimmis. It's only during that time period that they started to allow Hindus to live, polytheists to live, because it's against Sharia.
Right. And the only people that can become
it's against the Pact of Umar.
Right. Yeah. The only people who can become dhimmis are Christians and Jews.
And Zoroastrians.
Right. And Zoroastrians. Yeah. That's only three groups that could become dhimmis. The rest of them, you either convert or you die. The Hindus, did they have any other option other than convert to Islam or die? And they died.
And there's a lot. If you guys pick up Altabari's histories, you can read it right from the Muslims' records themselves about this. They killed so many, and there was an endless stream of slaughter. They're bragging about it. At the same time, they say we're tired of killing these people. They're asking for permission to stop killing them.
Right. Yeah, and when you get in that mindset, when you're forced to do something, that you lose your mind. When you look at what happened to the Eisengruppen, which were these mobile killing squads that the Nazis employed when they went into Jewish villages and towns, they would just come out. These guys would line up the Jews, dig a trench, line up the Jews, and they would shoot them all day long. Just shoot, kill, slaughter. These guys lost their mind because
they ruined. They ruined warfighters. No, they became completely useless.
Yeah,
they went off all the orders. They were drunks. They were lazy.
Right. Exactly.
Total lack of discipline because they were like. But you know what? One thing the Eisengruppen didn't do, that Hamas did, the Eisengruppen didn't videotape it. The Eisengruppen didn't publish it to the newspaper. The Eisengruppen didn't call home to mommy and daddy saying, "Look what we've done. We just killed a bunch of Jews. I love you. Praise me, father and mama." Yes, don't cry, mama. It's a beautiful thing. They didn't do that. As a matter of fact, during the Posen conference, Heydrich actually said, "We will never talk about this, ever." But one of the saddest things in the 1,000-year Reich is that no one will ever know the good that we've done here when it comes to the Jews, or the final solution. They will never know it. In other words, it was to be that secret. But these idiots, no. I mean, that takes a special kind of killer to do that. That takes a complete.
Well, you have to lose your soul. I mean, you have to trade your soul to the devil or do something like that. And this is what these Hamasholes have done. I mean, if anybody that would go in and do these things, and we have a monthly men's prayer breakfast every month, first Sunday of every month, And this morning it was brought up that they had put babies in ovens, and I was just kind of taken aback. I said, oh, that sounds like a little sensational news. But when you guys bring it up and confirm that, I'm like, you can't. How can you be? How can you do that to another human being? I mean, even in your
those were Eric. Those were actually orders they received. You talk about the stuff that they found, the maps. Those particular that insane war crime you're talking about was a direct order given.
By who? The Hamas officers or what?
They were given that order. It's recorded and it's documented, and yeah, it's bad.
It's actually worse than that. They repeatedly raped the mother as the child was being cooked in the oven,
baked alive. Yeah.
And mutilated her, mutilated the husband. I mean, this is. I don't even think Native Americans did this in their blood rituals. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think this. This is in many ways, it's the most violent thing done outside of the genocide of the Jews during the Holocaust. This is
worse.
I
mean, this is
never
worse.
heard.
The Holocaust,
this was televised. They recorded it and wanted everybody, and we're bragging about it. Is like what Eric said. And then they openly, those who got caught, they didn't get killed, openly admitted they did these things. They're bragging about it.
During the Holocaust, they would do it with efficiency. I mean, it's cruel when we start talking about, hurting, women, children, elderly people into a gas chamber and gassing them and killing them, or taking them out and shooting them in the back of the head. That's cruel. That's cold. That's murder. That's slaughtering people wholesale. This is much different. What they did here. I mean, when you put a baby in an oven and bake it, they found what they didn't know what it was. It was just this charred clump of coal and they were bound together with wire. They figured it out that it was an adult holding a young child like this, burned to death. And they know they were burned to death because in the throats they were able they found ash where they had inhaled it. So this adult and this child were set on fire, bound together, and burned to death. And you have people let me play another clip. You have people in the streets doing this.
They support this garbage.
What's that?
That's it.
And
That's
so
exactly
people
it.
actually support this crap. And they don't know about
That's
it.
why we need to send them home.
Because it's
Send
covered
them
up.
back to wherever they came from. I don't care where they came from. If you're an American citizen, you support this. Let's airdrop you into Afghanistan or Syria or someplace where you can live under Sharia.
This is the White House.
And that's not an insurrection. A lot more violent than anything happened.
Fucking coward!
It's like the enemy is at the gates, folks, and nobody's saying boo. And people
The
are
enemy's not in the gates. The enemy's not in the gates. The enemy is within inside the gates.
Occupy. Yeah, the enemy is at the White House where they say things like, "Oh, well, you turned off the telecommunications system for Hamas when you invaded. You got to turn it back on." Oh, that's Biden, by the way. The enemy is in the White House when they say things like, "Oh, you're handing out guns to the Israelis. We're going to stop you from receiving shipments." That was Biden again. So it's okay for Biden to say, "Yeah, it was a good job when the Ukrainians started handing out the weapons to the other Ukrainians," but it's not okay for Israel to hand out weapons to its citizens after they've been attacked. This is the anti-Semite Joe Biden.
Well, here's another interesting thing on this. Well, first of all, okay. Everybody says, how could the Holocaust have happened? Well, we now have evidence of the actual Holocaust actually happening, and they deny it. They don't believe it. Not only that, but you actually have right now them accusing Israel of wanting to do genocide, right? But what is their chant? From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. What does that mean? What does that mean? And that's why I like Ben Shapiro. He's been bringing this up. It's all in all his interactions with these idiots. He's like, okay, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. What does that mean? It means all of Palestine. Well, where is that? Do you mean the West Bank? Do you mean Gaza? No, all of it. From the river to the sea. Okay, where's Israel? It ceases to exist. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Right.
yes,
The River Jordan is the eastern border of Israel. The sea is the western border. Everything in between there, Palestine, be free from what? Will be free from the Jews. That's exactly what they mean. You're exactly right.
Exactly. So they're the one wanting genocide. This is why, honestly, I think Israel is making terrible mistakes. I mean, nobody believes them when they do this flee to the south, and they have been making mistakes. Yes, flee to the south, and then they end up bombing people in the south. Okay, if you're gonna do it, even if you suspect Hamas fighters in an ambulance are fleeing to the south, let them go. Okay, just get them out, kill all of that you can in north, and then you can deal with the south later. But anyway, so they're making horrible mistakes. They're also making horrible mistakes. They should have bombed that fuel depot. If Hamas is using fuel, okay, they should have bombed it. They should have
They're
destroyed it.
stealing fuel from they're stealing fuel from the hospital. The hospitals
Oh,
can't
yeah.
run their generators.
Yeah.
They have that on. They captured that on a telephone call.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, either way, they've got over 1 million liters of fuel that they're actually using, okay, to supply themselves, and they have the fuel depots. Okay, they have the satellite images of the fuel depots, or not even satellite images, just over. Anyway, they should destroy those fuel depots, but they should stop warning these people because they're not leaving. So why warn them?
Well, they've opened up a corridor. They've opened up a corridor. The Israelis, since they've been able to encircle the entire city now.
Oh, did you
open up a corridor?
Right. Well, no. Did you? Go ahead.
Well, they've opened the Israelis. Now think about this. Not the Hamasholes. The Israelis have opened up a corridor so the people in the north of Gaza can get to the south of Gaza. They get to South Gaza to keep getting caught up in all of the combat there. But the Hamasholes are preventing them from leaving. They have everything booby trapped. They have all this stuff booby trapped, so they can't get through. And then they're sitting there they're shooting at the Israelis at the place that they've opened up this corridor for them to get out.
They're
preventing their own people from escaping, and people are still protesting, even when you have that on film.
Well, they also have. I've seen video on Twitter where they are just killing the Palestinians when they're going down the street. They're saying that the Hamas
the Jews, right? Yeah.
No, that's not an airstrike. I mean, these are people shot, okay, and they're just laid out, okay, and there's no destruction like if you had an A-10 Warthog come in and do it, okay. This is up close, small arms fire, okay. Anyway, what I'm saying is they're just making a mistake on that. Okay, why bother doing that? Nobody's believing them in the first place. Nobody's believing Israel is giving them the corridor. Nobody's believing Israel is warning them to leave. Nobody. In other words, that win the hearts and minds of these idiots is not working. What I'm saying is, honestly, they just need to do it and get it done. The longer they do this with the warnings, the longer they do this, you know what I'm saying? They're drawing this out, and they're on a timetable. In other words, they need to do it, get it done as quickly as possible. Okay? And stop with this warning crap. Stop with this, we're going to open up a corridor. No, that time is past. Now it's time. Anybody there, forget about it. You're done. Okay? Because what we are talking about now is we are talking about people who openly want to commit genocide, who are bragging about committing genocide on the state of Israel. Okay, fine. Then Israel needs to do what needs to be done. But I'm a little hardcore on this, as you know, Eric. And no, I never served. I never done anything. But again, I believe in total war. I don't believe in this tit for tat. I honestly do not believe in this. Okay? If you're going to do it, you do it. Okay? And you don't play games. You don't sit there and say, well, we're going to take care of your civilian population. No, we don't care about your civilian population. Not my problem. You know what I mean?
All right, let's look at this lady. Yeah, I hear you, Red. Okay, so let's look at this lady here. Excuse me, at a rally, and what she has to say about the Hamasholes.
They're classed as a proscribed terrorist organization. Do you think the UK has made the wrong decision?
Of course. It's not Hamas the terrorist. It's America the terrorist. No, and Israel is terrorist, not Hamas.
I think Hamas are freedom fighters. They are freedom fighters. They are not terrorists, as the media portrays them to be.
Okay, so when we think of a freedom fighter engages in warfare with your opponent's soldiers. A true freedom fighter, does not go into a kibbutz or a village of your enemy and murder the civilians there. This is this kind of stuff this is the pattern that we see all over the place. You look at what Boko Haram is doing in Nigeria. Now you have the Palestinians going in and these people are just idiots. They're plain idiots. To say that America is a terrorist state in Israel, and one of the things that you guys had mentioned before, where they accused Israel of committing genocide against the Palestinians. If that is true, the Israelis are the worst perpetrators of genocide in the history of humankind. And the reason why is because those people who they are supposedly committing a genocide against they have exponentially more people living there now than they did when they first went there. So this idea that they're committing genocide is this is the type of language. This is what they try to do. Is an apartheid state. They don't even know what flipping apartheid is. You know what apartheid is? Apartheid is Gaza. You have no Jews living in Gaza. Why? Because if a Jew lives in Gaza, you know what happens to that Jew? They kill him. In Gaza, they had an election in 2007, and the government was supposed to serve for 4 years. Have they had an election since? No.
Same with the West Bank. Well, they know actually they were to have an election in the West Bank, Hamas would win. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. In the West Bank, they're not going to have elections either because the Fatah over there knows that they would get voted out also. So these guys that are committing these atrocities against the Jews, hiding and using the civilians that they were elected by as shields from the very people that they murdered, are the problem. I don't think it's the Palestinians. I don't for a second think it's the Palestinian people or who claim to be Palestinian people are the problem for a second. It's those people who are using their faith system as a justification to kill Jews. And they're encouraging those people around them to support them. And if they don't support them, then what happens to you? Well, they kill you. They take you out and kill you. The real genocide, the real war crimes are being committed by the Hamasholes on their own people. It's not the Israelis. It's the Hamasholes that are doing this. And it's the people in the West Bank also, instead of standing up for the people. All right. Let me
Yeah, but let me just comment on that. The whole thing on the well, okay. So again, let's go back to Nazi Germany. Was every German was everyone that was in the German was every German a member of the Nazi party? No. They were a minority party. They just happened to be the largest minority party that took power. And actually, I should put dates on this. So let's say 1929. What was every German a member of the Nazi not Nazi party? Answer is no. 1932. Was every German a member of the Nazi party? No, but you were if you wanted to have a job. Okay.
No, there was still
yeah,
a minority. No, there was still a minority in 1932.
well, I'm talking 32. Okay. Actually, no, you are correct on that. Okay, so 32 they came about. So 1939. Actually, they made it mandatory somewhere in there, where if you wanted to have any kind of government job in Germany, I mean, they were the biggest employer. Okay, so if you wanted any kind of bureaucratic job, school teacher, railroad worker, plumber, electrician, I mean, anything, school teacher, okay, professor, college professor, whatever. Okay, you had to be a member of the Nazi Party. Now, does that mean that every German that joined the Nazi Party was a diehard Nazi? Absolutely not. Okay, and the same thing can be said with the SS. Was every member of the SS Eisengruppen? No. Was every member of the SS the Death's Head? In other words, that they worked the concentration camps? No. The point being is this: we didn't sit there and say, okay, when we were bombing Dresden, when we were bombing Berlin, when we were bombing Nuremberg, when we were bombing Schweiz, whatever the ball bearing factories, okay, Weinstein or whatever, when we were bombing these areas and these major cities, putting them in rubble, did we sit there and say, well, we got to be careful with that German civilian population? No, we bombed the piss out of it. And we kept bombing it, day in, day out, night and day after day. For 3-4 years, we did this. Okay? As a matter of fact, well, the Americans, we were stupid. We did the daylight bombing because we wanted to be accurate. We suffered the most casualties because we wanted to be accurate and only bomb the factories. But the British had learned early on, this is a fact, where you don't bomb the factories. Because if you bomb the factories, they can rebuild the factories. You want to bomb the houses around the factory because it's the houses where the workers live, where they go and they rebuild the factory or work in the factory. And that's when they went to the slave labor and stuff. No, it's documented. Okay. And but yeah, so I'm sorry. Warfare, total war is a terrible thing. I'm glad I've never experienced it. I'm glad I never participated in it. But Israel better wake up and they better do this total war thing and stop pissing around because they are running out of time. I mean, Biden, look at him in the polls. He's going to waver now soon. He's already starting to waver.
I have no doubt. I agree. I have no doubt.
Well, remember Biden and Blinken, they all came out strong. Even Hillary Clinton comes out strong. And now all of a sudden they're like, well, no, we're not talking a ceasefire. We're talking a pause now. Because they see the poll numbers. You know what I mean? So, again, there is a clock on anything that Israel does. There is a clock set. Okay? They've probably got 2 more weeks before the governments of the West turn against them. Probably 2 more weeks.
I'm thinking that, okay, number one, it's the presence of the United States 2 carrier groups in the Mediterranean that's keeping Hezbollah out of it. And I think the Israelis realize that. And if they lose support, and hold on, let me finish. If they lose the support of the United States, then that gigs up and Hezbollah is going to release holy hell on that. But in conjunction with this, they need to do a better job of showing who the real evil is, and
Exactly.
they need to keep repeating it. And I agree with what you said earlier. They number one, they need to get the permission of the families, but they need to show absolute carnage that these people visited upon those people in southern Israel. They have to show what type of animals these people are. Their ambassador to the UN said it best. He said these people aren't human beings. These people are animals. No human being would have anybody with any sense of humanity would do any of these things that they did to these people in southern Israel. They need to do a better job of getting that and showing that end of who these people truly are. Because until they keep allowing the to show these women, children, people in Gaza, they're going to lose that war. They need to get down and dirty and raw and show exactly what these people did. Okay, I have one more film clip, and then we can call it a night. There's nothing wrong with finishing early, I don't think, unless somebody else has something they got to say that's so importante. All right, this one is a guy going to a protest.
Wait, I just wanted to add, remember those two battle carrier groups, one of them is actually overextended, and the other one is to replace them. So they only got two in there for a brief period of time. I forgot which one. The one is like 6 weeks overdue to return to port.
I think that's the Gerald Ford. That's the most advanced.
Yeah, yeah. They were already done. They were supposed to be going home.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Right. Well, when you're on a deployment and you're on a deployment, and that deployment gets extended while you're in theater, morale goes in the crapper. It really does.
Exactly.
And you have to do everything you can to bring it out of there. And so, I completely agree with that. And I believe it is the Gerald Ford that's been out there the longest. Okay, this guy went to a Palestinian protest and held this sign up. And let's see how this works out for him.
حماس تروریست و یکی از مبارزین پادشاهی
Notice he's wearing a mask. What did he just say? Allahu what? What? Who? What? What?
Sorry. Calm down. Hey. Don't touch.
Just look at this guy's eyes. You can see this. Look at the hatred in this guy's. I mean, they're bugging out of his head.
Hamas is terrorist.
And notice who's being led away by the police. Not the people who assaulted him, the guy that carried the sign. All right. So let that be a lesson. We got a lot of work to do, folks. I don't know what else to say. So, when putting all these things together for the show today, a lot of it, I'm left speechless. How people fail to realize what the root causes of all of this is. It has nothing to do with the land and has everything to do with this visceral hatred that the Palestinians have for the Jews. They've broken every single ceasefire that they have agreed to, and now they want another one? Another one to do what? Why do they need a ceasefire? Do they need to clean up? Are they going to be able to rebuild Gaza in the amount of time that they're going to be afforded in a ceasefire? No. They want to give themselves enough time to move people around because they've had their ears pinned to the wall by the IDF in the last 3-4 weeks, and they want to give themselves enough time to move all they have to do. Israel's come out and said the only thing that you have to do is just return the hostages and those people who are responsible for these murders, and we will stop immediately. We'll pull out, and you can have your territory back, and you can do anything that you want with it. But they won't do it. And the reason why they won't do it is because of their hatred. It's this hatred that is inspired by their text. Muhammad taught them how to hate Jews, and all of his followers taught them to hate Jews, and they've been hating Jews for 1,400 years. Go ahead, Red.
Well, no, that's another thing where they're screwed up. So, okay. Well, I shouldn't say screwed up, but it was okay. Well, they're not saying, they haven't been saying this. They have said it, but they haven't been saying it forcefully. Okay. Unconditional surrender of Hamas and release the hostages. Okay? You want this to end, this only ends this way. Unconditional surrender of Hamas. All the Hamas fighters, they lay down their weapons, they come out of their holes, and they release the hostages and return the remains, okay, of those that they've killed. That's it. Okay? All right? But now it's changed from, okay, unconditional surrender of Hamas to just release the hostages if you want a ceasefire. Okay. Do you see how things are kind of winding down? What I'm saying is this. If Hamas exists in any part of an entity, Israel has lost. They have totally and completely lost. Okay? Hamas cannot stay in existence. Everyone from every single leader, even the billionaires living abroad, okay, to the lowly soldier that's getting paid, $1 a Jew or whatever, okay, needs to be either arrested, detained, tried, okay, or just killed. Dude, we are talking denazification. We are talking
right. That's exactly what needs to happen. It's
you know what I mean?
Look how long it took the United States to do that in Germany at the close of the war. We're still there, for Pete's sake. But we're there for different reasons. As in the denazification, it was the Cold War that ensued. But yeah, so it is a process, and to get rid of that mindset of supporting Hamas, who supposedly is supposed to have your best, and it does not have the best interest of the people of Gaza. And we saw that video clip with the guy that Paul gave us that admitted that. He says we're doing it to protect ourselves. We're using these people to protect ourselves, and it's the UN's responsibility to build them bomb shelters. No, it's not. It's your responsibility. You're advocating what responsibility you have. Okay, we're going to call it quits for the night. Does anybody have anything else that they need to add?
I do. Islam is going to end just as strangely, or rather disappear as strangely as it began. Its own sources say that. Back to the desert. And that's why all this hatred and nonsense is going on. It's becoming more pronounced. Because the leaders know Islam is about to end because of what its own sources say.
Well, let's
and lastly, and Jesus is in control.
Amen.
Not man.
Amen. All right. I like that. Thank you, Darcy. Paul, Rad, you got anything else? People in chat. Thank you, everybody in chat. I saw we had quite a few people. I mean, you guys have been busy in chat. I can never keep up with that.
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, most definitely. Let's go, Brandon. No, let's not go, Brandon. All right. God bless you guys. Thank you for coming, and we will see you next week here. And we will be here next week on the Cross and the Crescent discussing.
All right. Good night. God bless. Love you all.
Advanced, student, and specialist. That the standard narrative has holes. That's what
that the Muslims were rioting against one another. And as much as we don't want to face the fact, the Muslims were lying sometimes. They were fabricating, they were embellishing And that might be hard to accept, but that is a reality.